Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, back again to do another quick little lesson. This is part 2 on my chord inversions, everything you need to know. Last time I talked about the theory of chord inversions. Hopefully now when you see a chord inversion written down, E/B, E over B, you know that that means we're playing an E triad over a B bass note. If you see B over D sharp, you know that that means you're playing a B triad over a D sharp bass note. D over F sharp, D triad with an F sharp in the bass. So that was our chord inversion primer. Today what I would like to do is I would like to give you some examples of songs that use these and how you might be able to use some of these in your own playing or composing. And I'll give you an example of how I have used these chord inversions in my own composing to write things that I think sound better. So, where can we look for chord inversions? Well, chord inversions are all over the place. They really are. I'm actually quite a big fan of Maroon 5 and their second album. And the thing I really like about James Valentine's writing is he loves a good first inversion chord. He loves to put that third in the bass, because the beauty of putting the third in the bass is it just pulls so nicely. All that is an F over A moving to a B flat. But that F over A to B flat sounds so much nicer than just playing F to B flat. You get this. You can hear that bass part. So he loves a first inversion, loves that third in the bass. And the more I dig into songs that use chord inversions, the more I see that as a nice trick. So the first example I'm going to give you, I've mentioned it a few times so far, is going to be Freebird by Leonard Skinner. So the first few chords on Freebird, as I'm sure you know, are a G, a D over F sharp, and an E minor. It then goes on F, C, and D. But that basic chord progression of G, D over F sharp. Now this is a first inversion chord. Why are they doing that? Why did they use that chord there? Why not just play G, D, to E minor? Play it in a few different ways for you, something like this. It works, but is it as good? To me, the answer is no, it's not as good. And the reason it works so nicely the way they do it is because we have a walk down in the bass. When we play G and move to a D chord, well, we've just played the note G. A semitone below G is the note F sharp. Now this note is in a D chord, it's the third of D. So we could play a D and put that F sharp in the bass to give us a D over F sharp. And then that leads again very nicely down to that E minor chord. So it's given us a walk down. It's a very nice trick that could be considered voice leading. We're trying to make the chord progression sound as smooth as possible. We don't want it to be too blocky. I mean, for comparison's sake, you know, this doesn't sound great, does it? It's not terrible. But is it as slick as... Probably not. So that's the walk down. Now in the intro I played the opposite of that, the walk up. I played Spice Girls 2 Become 1. Paul Gilbert used to play that. So in that we start on an F sharp minor chord. And the chord then plays an E major before going to A and B minor. So F sharp minor, E major, A major, B minor. Now this movement, if you just listen to the bass, it's not dreadful. But watch what happens if I, instead of playing E, if I play E over G sharp. Now our bass part is going to do this. Now let me play the chords so you can hear the full harmony of that. It sounds great. Sounds much better when you don't play a 7. Don't play the 7, Levi. Again. If I play one after the other, now with the inversion. Sounds great, right? Another example is essentially, just about any neoclassical rock kind of thing. I remember when I was learning, I found that power chords sound great, obviously. But what I very quickly realised is if you move your third finger up a fret, you get this. I didn't really know what to call this. It took me a long time to understand what this is. You see, when I write with this, I tend to do things like this. So that's a D5, D power chord, C power chord. And then I'm playing this. Now, this isn't a B sharp 5, is it? No, not at all. This is, again, a first inversion chord. This is really, it's a G over B. I'm playing the root G and the third B in the bass. It's giving me a G over B. It's a very stripped down version of G over B, but it works great with overdrive. That's not a bad chord progression. When I do that, what that is an A over C sharp, G, C. If I played it, strummy style, but playing it with those stripped down, rockier, that's an inversion, and it works fantastically. I actually do that in one of my own songs in Leaving London, Hellcat Molly's Leaving London. In fact, let me cut the chorus to that in now. So what's going on there? Well, the part looks and sounds like this. I'm in drop D now. that doesn't need to be done in drop D. That's how I play it on the record. But we can break down what I did there and understand it in standard tuning. It makes perfect sense. Look. I'm essentially playing D minor. And then I go... Now what I'm moving to here is like a B flat 9. But we could just play B flat major. You know, this is going to be a very sickly, sweet, chord, strummy version of the song. But it works, so... Now I play a chord inversion here. Now, in drop D, all I'm doing is I'm just lowering that root note. It's the same, kind of the same principle, but with the voicings it doesn't work so well. But in essence, all I'm playing is an F over A. That's going to work great here, because it's all about the bass movement. If you listen to the bass part, and then what I do from there is this drops down one more semitone and I'm playing A flat major. I gotta get away, I'm running from my pride, hidden deep inside, I've got to leave you now. That's why I don't sing on the record. Chord inversion in there, and it's used in a way that helps make the chord progression work. If I played that same chord progression but didn't play that inversion there, therefore didn't have this chromatic movement in the bass, it would fall apart. It doesn't sound as cool. Check it. Ba-na-na, da-da-da-da-do, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-do. Now with the inversion. Ba-na-na, works much nicer. Another example actually on the record that springs to mind on my record, Hellcat Molly's Out of the Ashes, you can find it below, is on the song Fly Away. Now this happened by accident. Again, I'm in drop D on the record. In the chorus of that I'm playing this is a B flat 9 chord. Moving down to an F 9 chord. Now when I was tracking the bass to this, the guitars were still doing this. But by accident, automatically my ear made me do this. And when you listen to it, I'll cut these in a second. What I do is the first time the bass plays this. As you'd expect. But on the second time, the bass does this. That's made that an inversion on the second time round. So the first time it plays, we have B flat going to F, B flat going to F. But on the second time, we have B flat going to F with an A in the bass. It's a subtle difference, but it was something that it was a real happy accident. And I went with it. So you'll notice in the second chorus of Fly Away, I play, that first inversion. In fact, let me just cut that in. Here's the first chorus. here's the second chorus. Check how the bass note only moves down a semitone when that chord changes. I like how this sounds. Now, the chord inversion thing really is endless. You could go on and on, AC/DC's Highway to Hell. That's a D over F sharp inversion, and it works well because that F sharp pulls up to G. We could go on and on and on. But the last example that I'm going to give you is the chords to The Effect by Act. Now, I played this on the intro of the last video. I'm just playing the chords. I'm not playing it as it appears in the song because the harmonic pace is a bit faster in the song. It'd be harder for you to hear what's going on, but I would highly recommend that you go and check The Effect out by Act. I'll tag it at the end. It's an excellent song with a beautiful chorus, and you'll see why the inversions have helped to make it that. So I'm going to break this down real quick for you. In essence, the chord progression without the inversions, I've got it in front of me, so I'm just going to read this, is C sharp minor, E major, A major, E major, F sharp minor, E, B, G sharp minor, C sharp minor to E, A, E, F sharp minor, and then A. And that repeats, changes on the second time. But if I just strum through that without these chord inversions, not a dreadful chord progression, you have this. Not the worst, but the way they play it, and it's not on the guitar, and this is kind of the point. This is about transcribing, this is about ear training, this is about hearing the bigger picture. When you listen to the way that the keyboards and the bass guitar move on this, you'll notice that it's tied together. Rather than playing C sharp minor to E, why not take that C sharp bass note and just move it down to B? So we can play E with a B in the bass, which leads us nicely to our A major chord. Rather than going to E, why not play an E with a G sharp in the bass? Because that leads us nicely down to F sharp. Now you've got this walk down. It's nice. Then goes down to an E chord. He then plays a B, with the D sharp in the bass. The bass goes, which is nice, down to our G sharp minor. C sharp minor to E. And then got our A, our walk down again, A, E over G sharp, F sharp minor. I like the second time ending, B major. We then have F sharp minor, G sharp minor to A minor, rather than A major. Very nice. So let me just play through that and listen to the bass part. I'll palm mute it and pick it so you can hear the voice leading of it. And that's what this is all about. Then go and listen to Axe the Effect and listen to that bass part. Listen to how the bass part helps to tie this together and make it sound smoother than just playing these big chords that don't fit together perfectly. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice chord progression, very slick. Now, of course, this isn't unique to ACT. It's something that bands have been doing for a very long time, and now you're aware of it. Maybe you'll spot some of them, you know? It's cool. C sharp minor. E with a fifth in the bass. A. E with a third in the bass. F sharp minor. E. B with a third in the bass to B. G sharp minor. C sharp minor to E. A. E with a third in the bass. F sharp minor to B. Anyway, hopefully that was of use to you and hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, you know, you could be like these awesome people over here. These guys all support me over on Patreon, $10 tier. Massively appreciative of that. It helps me to keep doing what I'm doing. It means that it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning actually. A normal person would be sleeping now, but I like making content for these awesome people because they support me, so I want to give something back to those guys. If you would like to join that list, you can do so over on patreon.com. Of course, you can join us for as little as $1, and if that's something that you are interested in, please do check this button up here. You can also subscribe to my channel, which is hugely important. Keep those subs coming in, tell your friends by clicking this button down here, and you can check out 2 more videos here and here. One will be mine and one will be ACT's The Effect. Fantastic band, well worth checking out. Thanks so much for all the support, guys, and I'll see you for another video soon. Bye.